think the first and most important thing I'm going to do here today is to say thank you. Thank you to all of you for being here. It's a significant commitment of your time, your energy, and that of the organizations and companies that you represent to try to do the right thing. And it's interesting, as Joe pointed out, it's not necessarily doing the right thing by the veteran, but it's doing the right thing by your organization to make them better, to improve your bottom line by hiring the right people and how we make that match. I've only been in the job now for just about a month, and as you may have heard, there wasn't a whole heck of a lot in my background that directly prepared me for life in state government as a cabinet officer, and particularly as this portfolio of Veterans Affairs and Homeland Security. It may be interesting, I didn't really campaign for this job at all. Some of you may know Governor McDonnell asked me to head a commission back in almost a year ago to look at what it means to Virginia if there's going to be another round of base closing, and to look at the long-term prospects of the decline in the defense budget that we're going through now. And you've seen the ramifications of that throughout the Commonwealth, and it's going to hit every piece of the Commonwealth. So I worked that commission pretty hard, gave it a good shot right after I retired from the Navy in November of 2012, and finished our report in October and turned it in. As you may recall, there were other things going on in Richmond in November of 2012 in Virginia that sort of kept it from moving up the chain in the governor's office. But there was one guy who read it, and his name was Terry McAuliffe. His campaign got a hold of it, thought it was pretty interesting, and had some stuff worth thinking about. So he actually read it. So I got a call on December 12th to come and see the governor-elect. And I had never met him. I didn't know him. I wasn't in his campaign. By record, I'm an independent, and I don't discuss who I did or did not vote for publicly. My wife may know, and we usually cancel each other out. We have for about the last 33 years. We have no contribution to make to the political process. And so I went and saw him on Friday the 13th and met him for the first time, him and Paul Reagan, the Chief of Staff, and had a great talk about the report, what the current environment, what the environment means for Virginia, and the issues that the Commonwealth faces, and some of the things that have to be done and have to be gotten underway. And so we had a very, very excellent talk, and I enjoyed it. It was very direct, no nonsense, no theater. It was direct, honest conversation, the kind you like to have if you're going to spend your time doing it. And then at the end of the conversation, he said, "Okay, Admiral, here's the bottom line. I've got a portfolio I need to fill, and I've decided you're the man I want to fill it." Now, I was quite shocked by that. I went home and I said, "Sir, I got to go talk to the boss about this one." She had a view of retirement that didn't quite involve a full-time job in Richmond, Virginia, since we just bought a house in Vienna, Virginia, up in Northern Virginia. But I went home and she said something, as Mary Ellen always does, that brings it right to the heart. She says, "You retired in November 2012, and you've been looking for something worth doing ever since then. So here's an opportunity. Here's an opportunity to do something for veterans." And it's in Virginia, which is the fourth largest, as Joe pointed out, the fourth largest population of veterans in the United States is in this Commonwealth. And she said, "How can you not take this up? We'll figure out the logistics, and you go live in Richmond for a while, and I'll be here, and we'll make all that work. But how can you not do this?" And so next day I called back and said, "Okay, I'm in. I'm all in. Let's go." So I was sworn in. I was announced on the 20th of December and sworn in on the 12th of January. So I'm very, very proud to be able to stand here before you in this capacity and be part of the team that's represented by the people here that's going to do the right thing by the Commonwealth, the right thing by your businesses and your organizations, and the right thing by our veterans. It's not often when you get to bring all those right things together in one spot. And I think the V3 program represents one of those golden opportunities that Governor McAuliffe talks about, finding common ground to do the common good. Common ground to do the common good. And the V3 program, I think, represents an extraordinary patch of that common ground, particularly in this Commonwealth. I went back and did a little research before I took the job. And in the General Assembly, since 2004, up through this last session, the budget allocated to the Department of Veteran Services has been increased by 300%. Okay? Worrying about veterans in the Commonwealth is not a partisan issue in this state. It is a bipartisan issue. Indeed, it is a nonpartisan issue. And if we do the right thing with the right programs, we will continue that bipartisan, nonpartisan support in the General Assembly. And that's why it's so important that we demonstrate the viability of the partnership that exists between the private sector, public-private partnership. Demonstrate that to the General Assembly so they continue to support us. But again, not necessarily the sole support, because it will be in the interest of companies throughout the Commonwealth to support this effort. And hiring the right people with the right skills at the right time improves a company's bottom line, improves an organization's operational effectiveness. So this is a tremendous opportunity for the win-win. Now, I think you've already met Andy Schwartz over there. Andy, where are you? Andy is obviously the program manager for V3, and he was thrilled beyond words, when he found out that I was going to be his new best friend. Because of all the things in my portfolio that I have been learning about, this program, V3, is where I'm going to be. Okay? Now, we have a term in the military, in the Navy, and I did not go to West Point, by the way. My father was not an Army veteran. He was a Navy veteran. He enlisted in 1942. And I was just with him last week, and he reminded me I better do a damn good job of taking care of veterans, because I was looking at one and I live with one every day. I got it, Dad, I'm on it. Don't worry about it. But Andy is going to be with me as we go around the state. I went and met with Barry Duvall, head of the Virginia Chamber. I said, Barry, I need your help. We're going to go around the state and I'm going to preach. I'm going to preach the gospel of E3. And I'm going to do more than preach. I need to learn. I'm not just going to broadcast like I'm doing now. I need to listen, and I need to learn from you, from your experiences with V3. What is it that works well? What is it we need to improve? How do we make this process better for you so you can make it better for our veterans? So this is a very, very important effort that God gave me this position. I'm going to make the most of it. We'll go around the Commonwealth, courtesy of the Virginia Chamber, the local chambers of commerce. Use that as the sort of the ink spot strategy. Put a little here, put a little here, and watch the effort spread around. And so Andy will be with me on that. The other thing I want to do is recognize that we also, as Joe has mentioned, John has mentioned, and certainly others, of the folks who have stood up already and made this program the program that it is. For instance, Dominion Power, Matt Kellum. Is Dominion Power here right now? Hi. I've been told that you're silver certified and you've hired 95 veterans, probably more than that in the time you've been here. Thank you, sir, very much for that. I appreciate it. You met John Andrews, who for some reason kept working for me. Although I tried to fire him about 7 or 8 times, it never took. He tried to fire me 7 or 8 times, it never took. But we stayed together and did great things in the Navy, I think. And John in the city of Norfolk, as was stated, is silver certified and has hired over 100 veterans. We got partners, not just employers, we got partners that help make this effort real. Charlie Palumbo, the Veterans Outreach Coordinator from Virginia Employment Commission. Charlie? She expands the net of the V3 certified employers. In Reagan Hertzler, Monica Hazelwood Frisbee from Heroes to Hired and employer support of the Guard and Reserve. A huge component here. You don't know, maybe some of you don't know about the Virginia National Guard. About 10,000 strong. We had the J1 here for a while. I think he's departed. About 10,000 strong or so. there is no state in the Union that has deployed a higher percentage of their National Guard overseas in the last 10 years than Virginia. Okay, no state. The Virginia National Guard and our Air National Guard, the Air National Guard down in Langley flying the Raptor, the latest and greatest fighter plane we have. The Virginia National and Air National Guard are carrying one heck of a load for the country, not just for the Commonwealth, when we see them responding to emergencies. And so the opportunity for us to reach out and help those individuals as they transition out of the service is a moral obligation for us. Kenny Adcock, Department of Criminal Justice Services. Kenny here. Kenny, thank you very much. Kenny has referred countless veterans to his own network, a very large network apparently of law enforcement agencies throughout the Commonwealth, and you brought in several agencies to be V3 certified on their own. So this idea is not just the company, but states and localities and those organizations can also participate in extraordinarily meaningful ways in this program and help us do the right thing. So, you know, it's very rare to be given another opportunity. I spent 39 and a half years in the United States Navy, and I was very proud of that, okay? And it was the career went on a little longer than I thought, but you know, it's the way these things work out sometimes. But then to be given this opportunity, just out of the blue almost, say, no, you're not done yet. You know, let's pick it up, put the knapsack back on, pick up your rifle and start marching to the sound of the guns. And I tell you, it's meant the world to me to have this opportunity to work with you. Like I said, V3 program and all that it is and all that it can be is going to be at the center of my activity for the next 4 years. And so I look forward to many more of these opportunities to be with you, to hear from you, to learn from you as we do the right thing. And I just want, you know, I haven't talked about doing the right thing from a moral imperative, but I just want to mention one aspect of this situation we're in right now. Joe mentioned that, you know, pretty soon, or right now, the Army is starting to come down in its total strength by very, very significant amounts. The Air Force is going to come down. The Marines are coming down. I think the Navy will probably stay pretty much where it is. But there's going to be an awful lot of new veterans coming out of the service. Now, with an all-volunteer force, as the nation turns the page on Afghanistan, the stories of the armed forces and what these young men and women have done are going to go to the back pages. Just the nature of the beast. I've been through this. I came in the Navy in 1973. I've been through 2 significant downturns in that time, and they follow a certain pattern. And then the stories you will see of veterans are generally of a fairly sensationalist nature. And they focus on problems. They don't focus on possibilities. They don't focus on the enormous reservoir of human talent that is represented by those young men and women who raised their right hand and took that oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, an unconditional oath, and then went out and did just that. So our nation tends to walk away. Fortunately, we've learned that the experiences, Ms. Shriver's father, we don't have that. And I thank God for that, and I thank you for that, because it indicated we did learn a little bit. But will we remember when we need to remember? Will we educate ourselves as to what it meant to be a veteran, what it meant to serve? You know, my dad went to school under the GI Bill. Right? It was the greatest single act of public policy in the history of this nation, along with the land grants program that Abraham Lincoln did, that injected such a vast infusion of human capital and intelligence and knowledge and energy into the economy. 16 million veterans went to college, courtesy of the United States of America, between 1946 and 1949. It's an extraordinary investment this country made. We have an opportunity to make another investment from taking these young men and women and getting them with you and investing in your companies, in your bottom line, and improving the outlook for the entire nation. I consider that a moral obligation on my part to be part of it. I consider it an economic obligation on your part because it's good business. Not just morally right, it's economically right. And we can prove that. And hopefully we'll help you learn that and help you take that message back to where you were. So thank you very, very much for this opportunity. Joe, thank you for what you've done over the past year to get this going.